Our fridge is usually nearly empty. There's always condiments, eggs, and some sort of shredded cheese, but that's it. Usually cream for coffee too, which I sometimes use for cereal. The pantry is full of dried pasta, Cheerios, and granola bars that are strictly for my sister. My dad locks away all of the good food for himself and wears the key around his neck like Zoe 101. So there's nothing to really make besides scrambled eggs, cereal, or pasta. Yeah, I should be grateful that there's food at all, but I'm sorry I can't just live off of those things. Plus, I have a really sensitive stomach, so a lot of dairy and gluten will destroy my stomach. Yesterday, I bought my own food and left it in the fridge. Starved myself all day for as long as possible, so I could eat towards the end of the day to not go to bed hungry. I got a big enough meal to eat half last night and half tonight. I don't make enough money to buy solid meals for myself all the time, so I was really looking forward to not eating the same old thing yet again. I opened the fridge today when I was hungry to the point of vomiting, and the majority of my food was gone. Maybe a bite or two left, but nothing I could actually get full off of. So naturally, I got pissed because I'm starving. I paid for it with the little money I have in the first place, and my mom didn't even ask. So I walked into her home office and asked her if she ate my food. Her argument was that she thought it was old from days ago when she literally knows I came home with it last night. I even got her something too, which she ate for dinner last night. Then I got even more mad, saying I'm starving and haven't eaten anything in over 24 hours. She started bawling her eyes out, and my dad started screaming at me for being overdramatic. Then she dramatically left the house, saying she's gonna blow off work for the rest of the day to go and get me the same meal. My dad ran out and took the keys from her before she could leave, then came inside saying she's crying. So not only did she eat my food, she guilt-tripped me and made me feel like I'm the reason why she's not gonna make any money today, because she ate my food that I starved myself for. I think I feel extra guilty because we get along well, but this isn't the first time it's happened. When I told my sister, she sighed and rolled her eyes because this has happened to her too, with the same excuse. All I know is that I'm mad, feel guilty, and have extremely low blood sugar, so I might just sleep it off or something. Am I the jerk for reacting the way I did? For TikTok and Reddit accounts, please don't use this story. My family lives on TikTok, and it'd be bad for me. For everyone asking, I'm an adult, and my sister's an adult, so there's no need for CPS. We're both starting out college at two kind of local universities, and we're still at home because we live in an expensive area, so it would be really hard to move out considering I make less than minimum wage and rely on tips while she's too busy to have a job at all. My mother and I are pretty close, but she's really stressed out and anxious, so I think she has some sort of stress eating issue or something. She's really checked out from constantly working. I'm not going to call anyone on her or my dad because we don't snitch on our family. I don't know how else to put it when it comes to that, especially legal authorities. My dad is another story, a really stressful, gut-wrenching, awful story that I don't have time to unpack. I would like to thank everyone for showing concern and kindness towards me. I really do appreciate it. I'm currently saving up to transfer to a school in Europe, then maybe just stay there. I'm sad to leave my sister, but she said she plans on joining me there too as soon as she can. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. You need to get you and your mom and sister out of that home. It is hurtful and toxic. Get all three of you to a shelter, and if mom won't go, you go. Get out to protect yourself. Your father is hurtful. He's starving you all. This is disgusting. Comment 2. Note that here the OP describes herself as a grown butt woman. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for reading my update. It's been a hectic few days since my last post and I've got a lot to share with you. So the day after the whole food fiasco with my mom, I decided to confront her about it. I waited until my dad was out of the house and my sister was busy with her online classes. I found my mom in her office and I calmly asked if we could talk. She seemed a bit hesitant at first, but she agreed. I told her how much it hurt me when she ate my food without asking, especially since I had been saving up for it and was really looking forward to eating it. I also mentioned that this wasn't the first time something like this had happened, and that my sister had experienced similar issues with her. To my surprise, my mom actually listened to me. She apologized for eating my food and for making me feel guilty about it. She admitted that she had been really stressed out lately with work and everything else going on, and that she had been turning to food as a way to cope. She promised to try and be more mindful of our food in the future and to ask before taking anything. I was really grateful for her apology and her willingness to listen to me. It felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, and I could tell that my mom appreciated me coming to her directly instead of just getting angry or holding a grudge. But that's not all that happened. Later that day, my dad came home in a really bad mood. Apparently, he had gotten into an argument with his boss at work, and he was taking it out on everyone in the house. He started yelling at my sister for no reason, and when I tried to intervene, he turned on me too. It was a really scary moment, and I honestly didn't know what to do. My dad has always had a bit of a temper, but I had never seen him like this before. My mom tried to calm him down, but he just kept getting angrier and angrier. Eventually, he stormed out of the house, slamming the door behind him. We were all left shaken and upset, and I could tell that my sister was on the verge of tears. My mom tried to comfort her, but I could see that she was struggling too. It wasn't until later that night that we found out what had really happened. My dad had been fired from his job, and he had been too ashamed to tell us. He had been working there for over 20 years, and it was a huge blow to his ego and his sense of self-worth. When he finally came home, he was a lot calmer, but I could tell that he was still really upset. He apologized for his behavior earlier and explained what had happened. My mom and sister were both really supportive, but I could tell that they were worried about what this meant for our family. Over the next few days, things were really tense in the house. My dad was constantly on edge, and my mom was doing her best to keep everything together. I tried to help out where I could, but I felt like I was walking on eggshells all the time. It wasn't until a few days later that things finally came to a head. My dad had been drinking a lot more than usual, and one night he got into a huge argument with my mom. I could hear them yelling at each other from my room, and I was really scared. When I went downstairs to see what was going on, I found my dad passed out on the couch with an empty bottle of whiskey next to him. My mom was crying in the kitchen, and my sister was nowhere to be seen. I didn't know what to do, but I knew that I had to do something. I called my aunt, who lives nearby, and asked her to come over. She arrived a few minutes later and helped me get my dad to bed. The next morning, we all sat down as a family and had a long talk. My dad admitted that he had been struggling with his mental health for a while and that losing his job had just been the final straw. He agreed to start seeing a therapist and to cut back on his drinking. It was a really emotional conversation, but I could tell that it was a turning point for our family. We all agreed to start communicating more openly with each other and to be more supportive of one another. Since then, things have been slowly getting better. My dad has been going to therapy regularly, and he's even started looking for a new job. My mom has been more open about her own struggles with stress and anxiety, and my sister and I have been doing our best to be there for her. It hasn't been easy, but I feel like we're all in a better place now than we were a few days ago. We're still dealing with a lot of challenges, but we're facing them together as a family. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks again for reading, and I'll keep you all updated if anything else happens. My friend texts another woman for an ego boost and calls it harmless until I expose his cheating and force him into therapy with his wife. One of my friends, M, has been married for a few years now, and I always thought he had a beautiful marriage. He recently told me how he was talking to someone simply for an ego boost. He approached this girl at the club, got her number, and exchanged calls and messages for some weeks. I was shocked and told him he's cheating and needs to stop what he was doing. He acknowledged it was wrong, but didn't consider this cheating because he was just simply exchanging texts and was never going to see the girl again. It was all just a temporary thing. I asked him, "How would you feel if your wife did this behind your back?" I was shocked that he didn't understand how serious this was. Frustrated but genuine, I told him his wife deserves better, and he needs to tell her he was offended. We haven't talked since. Edit and update. I really appreciate the responses and sound feedback here. I decided I'm going to reach out to this friend again, explain my reaction, and also get the confirmation that this stopped, and he's working on himself the way he needs to. Intend to do this all in person. Edits. I haven't used Reddit much before, so forgive me for doing this incorrectly. Addressing some things to give more clarity. One of my friends, M and I, F. There was a reason I started clarifying this, but hastily posted without double-checking. I am a female and straight, and for that reason not trying to sleep with or in love with my friend's wife. Some folks asked to define talking. To start with, he definitely flirted with this girl to get her number. I feel that's obvious. After that, from the messages he showed when I asked him to show me what he meant, it was stupid and just straight conversation. Part of the reason I responded the way I did. Messages like, "Hey, how are you? What have you been doing?" etc. Time. The messaging wasn't consistent for weeks, but it spanned over a few weeks at the time he mentioned it, a week ago. Meaning no daily calls and texts, but scattered calls and texts across what I'm guessing was 2 weeks before he mentioned it to me, which regardless is equally terrible and stupid, whatever the time frame here. My place. Yes, I don't know every detail of their marriage, and I think that's the case in general, but since he didn't mention established boundaries when we had this conversation, I can guarantee they didn't exist. I have not shut out my friend on my end. Instead, he has been avoiding me, and I agree with the folks who think it's simply out of embarrassment and shame. I agree with folks here. I hit him with a harsh truth that he needed to hear. I'll give it a few more days, maybe the weekend, but I do intend to reach out. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. It's good you were honest, and he should stop texting the other person. As for telling his wife, that isn't up to you. I think you should have kept it a bit easier so you could have kept him around to talk to him, because it might be loneliness driven, and having someone to talk to might help. Once he feels attacked, you're cut off from helping out. Comment 2. He acknowledged it was wrong, but didn't consider this cheating. What he's done is a textbook example of emotional cheating. It's also cruel to the girls he is cheating with. Not the idiot. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for reading my last post and for all the great advice. It's been a week since I confronted my friend about his behavior, and a lot has happened since then. After a few days of radio silence, my friend finally reached out to me. He asked if we could meet up and talk things through. I agreed, and we met at a local coffee shop. As soon as I saw him, I could tell something was off. He looked exhausted and had dark circles under his eyes. We sat down and he immediately started apologizing for his behavior. He admitted that what he did was wrong and that he had been struggling with his own insecurities and feelings of inadequacy in his marriage. He said that the attention from the other woman made him feel wanted and desired, something he hadn't felt in a long time. I listened patiently as he poured his heart out. He told me that he had come clean to his wife about everything and that they were now in couples therapy trying to work through their issues. He said that the therapist had helped him realize that his actions were a symptom of deeper problems in their relationship and that they both needed to put in the work to fix things. I was relieved to hear that he was taking responsibility for his actions and that they were seeking professional help. However, as he continued talking, he revealed something that left me stunned. He said that his wife had also been unfaithful in the past and that they had never fully dealt with the fallout from her infidelity. Apparently, a few years ago, his wife had a brief affair with a coworker. She ended things before it went too far, but the damage had already been done. My friend found out about the affair through a mutual friend, and it nearly destroyed their marriage. They went to therapy and tried to move past it, but the trust between them had been shattered. Hearing this new information made me realize that their marriage was even more complicated than I had initially thought. It also made me question whether I had been too harsh in my initial reaction to my friend's behavior. While what he did was still wrong, I could now see that there were deeper issues at play. As we continued talking, my friend admitted that he had never fully forgiven his wife for her infidelity. He said that he had tried to move past it, but the pain and betrayal still lingered. He also revealed that he had been struggling with depression and low self-esteem for years, even before the affair. I listened intently as he shared more about his personal history. He told me about his difficult childhood and how he had always struggled with feeling good enough. He said that his parents had been emotionally distant and critical, and that he had internalized a lot of their negative messages about himself. As he talked, I could see how all of these factors had contributed to his recent behavior. He was a man who was deeply hurting and had never fully dealt with his own trauma and insecurities. While his actions were still wrong, I could now see them in a different light. We talked for hours, and by the end of our conversation, I felt like I had a much better understanding of my friend and his struggles. I encouraged him to continue with therapy and to be honest with his wife about his feelings. I also offered to be there for him as a supportive friend, someone he could talk to when things got tough. In the days since our conversation, I've been reflecting a lot on the complexity of relationships and the ways in which our past experiences can shape our present behavior. I've also been thinking about the importance of empathy and understanding, even when someone has made a mistake. While I still believe that my friend's actions were wrong, I now have a deeper appreciation for the challenges he's facing and the work he's putting in to make things right. I know that the road ahead won't be easy for him or his wife, but I'm hopeful that with time, patience, and a lot of hard work, they can rebuild their marriage and find happiness together. Thanks again for reading and for all your support. It means a lot to me to have this community to turn to during difficult times. My sister mocks my weight while wedding dress shopping. So I cancel her dress order and watch her meltdown before the big day. So my sister Hannah, 27-year-old female, and I, 25-year-old female, aren't close, and yet she invited me wedding dress shopping with her. She says she wants this to be the start of a better relationship between us, and she wants me by her side for this process because she trusts me. I don't want to go with her. Even with a slightly better relationship, shopping for any clothes is a very hard no for me with her. So I told her I appreciated her wanting us to be closer, but I didn't feel like I should go wedding dress shopping with her. She asked me why exactly. She told me this was her extending the olive branch and trying to fix the issues in our relationship. I told her our history, which includes recent history of as early as 3 months ago, is not good when it comes to her and me in appearance. When we were kids, I was bigger. It happened very suddenly while I was still very young, and my parents were concerned, but doctors dismissed it as bad eating habits and not doing enough exercise. I was very self-conscious, and my sister mocked me for it a lot. Our parents were furious when she'd open her mouth about it. She called me gross and even took some of my clothes to show off how humongous I was. She'd used the nickname others had given me, Hallie Hippo, and was really not kind about it. She made it even harder to be like that. Her relationship with our parents was super bad for years because of it. I was 20 when I finally got a doctor to listen to me and explore why the sudden weight gain happened. I ended up needing surgery to remove a mass, which made a huge difference to my appearance. And then I went in the opposite direction, and my thyroid made me too skinny. Around the time this happened, Hannah gained some weight. Not a lot. She's not huge by any means. But it made her crazy jealous. She would make snide comments about being super skinny and how unfair it was that I lost all that weight without doing anything. I didn't see her often because our relationship was so bad. But the times I did, she'd make me looking good sound so negative. She'd say I didn't deserve it. A couple of years ago, we were both shopping with some cousins, and it was just insane how angry she was at me. She called me the luckiest witch in the world, and you don't even like it, because I was so tiny. The concerns about being too small being bad for my health were waved off. 3 months ago, she told me I look smaller every time she sees me and how much she hates me for it. She told me I didn't deserve it, and now she wants me to go dress shopping with her, which again is why I said no. But she hated that I brought up the past when it's in the past, and she told me this is the fresh start she's offering me. I can't see her not making a lot of nasty comments about dresses and me, especially because I know she feels self-conscious, and I can't say I care about her enough to be reassuring. She told me to stop being a weenie, stop being selfish, and to give us a chance or else I'm a jerk. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. No. That is not how it works. I understand pathologically jealous siblings. Hannah has not tried to drown or stab you, but she might if she could get away with it. Retail therapy is for the individual, not to heal sibling relationships. If Hannah really wanted things to be better, she would go to therapy and work on why she feels the way she does. Then she would offer a heartfelt apology, not call OP names because OP will not do her bidding. Not the idiot OP. Be willing to miss the wedding to stay sane, but send a gift. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Sounds like she's always been toxic and mean to you. People can apologize, but they aren't entitled to someone's forgiveness and relationship after treating them poorly for years. My brother struggled with his weight too growing up, and I can't imagine mocking him for that. What she put you through was traumatic, and you're not a bad person if you just don't want a relationship with her. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, Thanks for reading my update. It's been a wild 2 weeks since I last posted about my sister Hannah wanting me to go wedding dress shopping with her. So I decided to give Hannah a chance and agreed to go dress shopping with her. I figured maybe she had changed and this could be a fresh start for us. Boy, was I wrong. The day started off okay. We met at the bridal shop and started looking at dresses. Hannah seemed to be in a good mood and was actually being nice to me. But then things took a turn. As we were browsing through the racks, Hannah pulled out a dress and held it up to me. "This would look great on you," she said with a smirk. "Too bad you're too skinny to fill it out." I was stunned. I couldn't believe she was already starting with the jabs about my weight. I tried to brush it off and keep looking at dresses, but Hannah wasn't done. Throughout the day, she kept making little comments about how I was too thin and how unfair it was that I lost weight without trying. She even said that I looked like a walking skeleton in one of the dresses I tried on. I tried to ignore her and focus on finding a dress for her, but it was hard. I could feel my anger and frustration building up inside me. I wanted to snap at her and tell her off, but I didn't want to cause a scene in the store. As we were leaving, Hannah turned to me and said, "Thanks for coming with me today. I know it must have been hard for you, being surrounded by all these beautiful dresses that you can't wear because you're too skinny." That was the last straw. I lost it. I told her that I was done with her constant jabs and insults about my weight. I reminded her of all the times she had mocked me when I was bigger and how much it had hurt me. I told her that I thought this shopping trip was supposed to be a fresh start for us, but instead it was just more of the same old nonsense. Hannah looked shocked. She tried to defend herself, saying that she was just joking around and that I was being too sensitive. But I wasn't having it. I told her that her jokes were hurtful and that I was done putting up with her abuse. I left the store in tears, feeling like an idiot for thinking that things could be different between us. I should have known better. But that's not the end of the story. A few days later, I got a call from our mom. She told me that Hannah had come to her in tears, saying that she felt terrible about how she had treated me at the dress shop. She said that she realized how much her words had hurt me and that she wanted to apologize. I was skeptical at first, but I agreed to meet with Hannah. When we met up, she broke down in tears and told me how sorry she was for everything. She said that she had been jealous of me for so long and that she had taken out her insecurities on me. She admitted that she had been wrong and that she wanted to make things right between us. I was surprised by her apology, but I could tell that she was sincere. We talked for hours, hashing out all of our old issues and resentments. It wasn't easy, but it felt good to finally clear the air between us. Since then, things have been better between us. We've been talking more and even hung out a few times. I wouldn't say we're best friends or anything, but it's a start. Looking back, I realized that I made a mistake by agreeing to go dress shopping with Hannah in the first place. I should have trusted my gut and stuck to my original decision to say no. But in a way, I'm glad I went. It forced us to confront our issues head on and finally start to work through them. I know that our relationship will never be perfect, but I'm hopeful that we can continue to move forward and build a better bond as sisters. It's not going to be easy, but I'm willing to put in the work if she is. Thanks for reading, everyone. I appreciate all of your support and advice throughout this whole ordeal. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.